the message that I'm just been trying to bring across this entire episode is she's trying to half-ass being a dictator. Like,
Yes, and Rhaenyra's struggling with it, clearly, and she asks Alicent, like, how did you manage this? I'm kind of getting a sense of what the actual job is, and then Alicent's like, well, you're going to have to be a bad person from here on out. And I don't think that Rhaenyra was ready to hear that.
Dragon claw, wing and scale. Come now, let's examine a tale of the greatest beast ever considered. Another episode of Big Flying Lizards.
welcome to Big Flying Lizards, a dragon movie and television podcast. I am your host, Bryce Wilson, and I am joined once again by the one, the only, Mr. Snyder.
Again. Back at it like a crack addict. Thrice. 3 times in a row.
3 times in a row. We haven't seen this since
House of the Dragon.
episode 3.
Hot D2.
I was going to say season 1, episode 3. But
Fair.
We are back. It's House of the Dragon season. Some are saying that this is the official season opener of season 3. What's going to be going on in this episode. Because it is so new, we do not have an episode title, but by the end of this episode, there will be an episode title listed for us, and we'll be able to go ahead and list that over. Predictions, thoughts, ideas, concerns, excitements.
Team Green, you're on watch. You're on notice here. Like, we should get our act together if we want to maintain our numbers.
I thought you were team sheep stealer.
No, it's in question.
Oh, okay.
Bryce, that's the real question today. And the question I have going into this episode is, where is my loyalty going to rest after this? Because that shit with Aemond, and like I just have a feeling now that Alicent is going to make some rash decisions in the wake of some decisions. No judgment on Rhaenyra's part, but I could definitely see this being I don't know if anybody's gonna die in this episode. I don't know if we're gonna get any major character deaths after they just like executed Otto right there. Like that would have been the one.
Yeah, I
mean, they
mean,
wanted to drag it out and have a big dramatic thing.
They did say this entire season was the war season. Like, they're in the thick of it. So we might get some minor deaths in this episode.
Okay.
But
who's getting it? Who's got an X on their head? Little red dot.
Who's got a little red dot? Well, I don't know, but I have a feeling I know somebody who does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, we want to highlight that Nana says right here, sheep stealer disapproves of this loyalty, Austin. Keep a large sheep sacrifice will be required.
And since when does Nana speak for the sheep stealer? Sheep stealer supreme.
Yeah, Nana speaks for Nana over here. Nana Vagar over here.
But naturally, no, I will be making the necessary sacrifices if I do indeed sure up with Team Sheep Stealer, which I think we are recognizing at the very least as the most valid third option.
Yeah. Unless there's a fourth option that pops up, there's always that possibility.
If Ulf and Silverwing go rogue, as I think there is potential for, I could be courted by that team.
That would literally just be Team Joker. Like, that is team.
Why
not? We just want to see the world burn.
Team Chaos.
But yeah, Nana is Vagar, bigger than Sheep Stealer, bigger, badder, and more deadly. But I do know, just based off of some of the releases that have been released there, that we're going to get some Osmond back. He took an episode off in the last episode, so he'll be coming back in this episode. I'm sure that there's going to be some establishments of Rhaenyra as queen of a fractured seven kingdoms. I'm sure she's going to be laying down her own laws. We'll see how King's Landing takes to that.
I'm definitely expecting some kind of slowdown from the last two episodes. Like, because if they just keep on this trajectory, then this show, this season is going to be the most lopsided season in Westeros history.
I really hope that they just go full throttle, and by the end of this season, we're just like, stop! We're winning too much.
Yeah, no. What I'm actually saying is, on the current trajectory, they could only possibly maintain that for 2 more episodes, and then the show would just like have to make up for that with, I'm sure, the worst run of nonsense we've ever seen. So I just want them to like chill out for a second. I'd honestly be totally fine with that.
We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Rumor has it that we will not see the actor of Aemon Targaryen for at least 3 episodes. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard in the rumor mills.
That'd be kind of crazy. But he was definitely given his moments in the last couple episodes.
And he got shanked. He got stabbed.
Yeah. Ooh, so that's all right. Do we just want to get into it here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it then. And we're back. What an episode.
Are we back?
Are we fucking back?
Are there any skeptics left in the crowd?
There are, but they're not here. They're not in this room.
Exactly.
No, another great episode. It was not as action-packed, but this is really leaning back into some of what made Game of Thrones great with the political games that are going on right now.
Drama-packed, you could say.
Very much the drama, very much just giving us what, I mean, Lars Strong is arguably one of the best to ever play the game, in my opinion. This entire episode just had Lars's fingers all over it. And
okay, tell me more.
I want to
get it down.
I want to get into it a little bit more as we go along. But,
okay, there's the tease then.
Well, here's the thing. There's something that happened last episode that I don't think we really touched on, and it probably deserved a little bit more attention. It was Laris that put Otto in the black cells.
Yeah. Also, I'm quite certain that it's Laris. Is the pronunciation.
You're right. It wouldn't be a proper podcast.
So actually, now that we're straight on that, but yes, I mean, he has been playing at Mastermind this entire game. It's just he hasn't had as much screen time in that, which is fundamental to this episode, because this is the Rhaenyra episode. Her name's literally in the title of the episode.
Yes.
And I believe she's in every scene except the beginning.
Yes.
So, like, how often does that happen?
That's
in a show like this within an ensemble this huge?
Because they had the intro, which before we go into the details, I want to talk about the intro and just some thoughts I've been having about that. But that's brilliant on their part that Rhaenyra is in every single scene that's throughout this episode, with the exception of this one scene where they're doing their war council and it's before the credits are rolling. So it's like a teaser screen, almost like how it is in the books of A Game of Thrones. All of the POV chapters are reoccurring POV chapters. I think there's only like 2 characters that only have like 3 chapters total, but every single time that there is a POV chapter in A Game of Thrones, at the sort of the prologue, it's people that never have dialogue their own chapter again. And that's sort of like a little bit of a hint that I'm seeing there by them not having Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra is clearly just being the POV character of this episode.
Well, and me not having read any of the books, I know, shocking. That's awesome to hear. Then it sounds like it really could be a callback, even if it's unconscious to the source material. Really interesting formatting, though, and they cop to it. And if you go to the behind the scenes of the house that these here dragons built, about it, where of course they're like, touting their own genius at considering this concept. But no, it is true that they go about it in a very smart manner in their like just visual representation of it, and just actually putting Rhaenyra at the center of it, and also just how her story takes center stage throughout.
Yeah.
So just down the line, a really interesting concept for an episode that I thought was up to the new House of the Dragon standard. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to get into sort of the meat here in a second.
And just to call back to what you were saying before, this, as intense of an episode this was, it still felt like a come down episode in some ways. It like it wasn't necessarily intense like it was in episode 1 and episode 2, but it still was intense in its very own ways. But at the same time, and we were commenting on it throughout the episode, it felt like a season opener. Like
100%. And we're primed to perceive it that way, because that's been sort of our joke already in our coverage of this season so far, that really the pilot, or not the pilot, but the season opener and episode 2 felt a lot more like the rounding out of a season 2 than the opening of a season 3. And now that we have episode 3 that sort of opens quietly, it's acknowledging the sort of like jaw-dropping moment from the episode before, but it's not confronting it.
Yes.
Like there's the first scene with Rhaenyra and Alicent, like I expected somebody to have a knife at somebody's throat, and they're just kind of there. And it's like, well, this is a situation.
It's like, well, it is what it is.
The energy definitely dropped down the way you would expect going into a new season. Plus, they're setting the stage for what I assume the rest of this season's going to be, unless somebody can just snatch that ground from Rhaenyra sooner than I expect.
Well, and even Rhaenyra's mannerisms and body language and just her attitude in general was completely different from even the last episode.
Yeah, you see a change in Rhaenyra throughout this, and fluctuation. I mean, girl's going through a lot. She's under an insane amount of pressure.
Yes,
I'm not trying to defend some of the woman's more radical acts. This as a a traditional like green voter in this circumstance. I'm loath to admit that there's some stuff that Rhaenyra was up to that I was really digging this episode, and then a few turns that I thought were not so cash money. So again, that's in the meat of it. We'll acknowledge as we get to those.
One conversation that I would love for us to have before we jump into the episode proper is just talking about the intro. I feel like we've danced around the intro and had decent conversations about the intro in general, but you made a comment that reusing the original theme song is growing on you, and I agree. And I sort of view what they're doing. I view what they're doing with the intro is sort of like what Star Wars did with their intro. That meaning that they use that intro for all of the stories that are in the Star Wars, like
the mainline saga there.
Yes. And how I view it in the show is that the Targaryens are sort of the main characters of the series.
They're this universe's Skywalkers, if you will.
Yes. They've got the special blood. They've got the Mandalorian count, midichlorians, or whatever it is.
You just lost at least one viewer, I promise you.
It's not Nana. It's not Nana. That's all that matters. But if you remember, for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, they didn't use that intro. They teased it, they hinted at it, and that was the famous like
amazing. Yes, and that's part of why I like it more now, is because that has clarified this as more of a deliberate choice.
Yes.
And I also think that they're actually meeting the shot that they called, because the show has been pretty damn good.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not as precious about the original Game of Thrones run as some people. So for me, like this, I mean, with this new crop of episodes, I think we're kind of there.
Yeah.
Like the highs of House of the Dragon are at least comparable, or at least in the same ballpark as the original Game of Thrones run. So I think that them positioning this as mainline Westeros saga sort of clearing at this point. Plus, they've been so inventive and creative with how they've represented the opening visually. I think that they've really gone to town and outdone themselves in that regard, and how they've evolved the intro throughout the show. Super into that. So it doesn't feel like I think we called it lazy.
Yes.
In our original season 1 coverage. How do you feel about it at this point? Because like I would have loved for them to do something new with it, but at this point I've gotten used to the direction that they went, and I'm not mad at it at all.
The only thing that I wish, and this is, I'm pro. I'm on the positive side. I agree that back then it was sort of tasting more poorly in our mouths, but I also think that that's just because we just were coming off Game of Thrones. Like I know you were slower to watch House of the Dragon just because Game of Thrones had left such a negative taste in your mouth.
There's so many shows out there, dude.
And there's so many better shows to be out there. But I kept telling you, I was like, dude, this is it. Like, this is amazing.
Well, and I was just like automatically on with Rings of Power, and when that just clearly wasn't it. Yeah, you're like, hey, I got the fix. Like this off market, like HOTD shit is actually kind of the one.
Not House of the Dragon related, but is Rings of Power the most referred to project on the podcast that has not been discussed here?
I would hope so. It deserves all the hate it can get.
I think it has more references than Peter Jackson.
It is a pillar of social decay.
It's a pillar of what not to do. It is a monument of what not to do.
Awful show. Not like aggressively awful, but just like it's offensive in all the ways that I'm particularly bothered by. So sorry to get all serious about it, but yeah, not good.
But wrapping back to my original thought there,
about a very good show, about House of the Dragon.
Yes, I very much enjoyed that we were getting in season 1 the model of old Valyria, especially since that was Viserys's like lifelong project that he was working on building and putting together. But since they've gone this entire direction of doing tapestries, sort of telling the story of what's going on in the show, I wish they would have just started out with that direction rather than have the Valyria models and then shift over to the tapestry, because it feels completely different when they make that jump. While the model feels like it's a copy and paste from Game of Thrones because they did the map.
Right. So, and they've committed to this new aesthetic starting in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you there. So I do think that would have tied the whole concept together on a new level, but clearly that hadn't developed at that original point. And as we'll discuss in our discussion on this episode, I don't think at that point in time they had somebody that was just like signing checks for whatever they wanted and just like clearing whatever expense they needed for this like golden show they have.
Well, do we just want to talk about that right now, since that's not really tied to an episode, like a chapter in particular?
Sure, hit me with it.
I personally think that this is the right move, because the only way that they're going to get the general populace back from the disaster that was season 2 is to just throw money at the problem. Like that is their best bet right now.
That is the card they have to play.
Yes. Like obviously, and they have Claire, our girl Claire Kilmer.
Yes, who is in, especially in this episode and hopefully the next, I think coming to represent like as much of like a director auteur with like a vision that they have sort of steering this show, even though I recognize that a like showrunner, line producer like Ryan Condal is much more of an influence on the continuity and the overall run of a show in this world. Just the way her episodes are really popping out, great stuff. And they also seem to like allow her a little bit more creative lenience than the other directors that are interviewed. But I'm not mad about it.
I mean, they brought in a new director as well, and I think they directed either episode 1 or episode 2 of.
Well, it would have been episode 1 then.
Yes, it was episode 1, and I'm trying to.
Yeah, it was a guy, and he did a nice job. And I mean, there was just so much going on there.
Yes.
I think you needed a single like hand to see through all of that nonsense.
And
Not
he'll
nonsense,
be back.
that glorious, beautiful chaos that was that opener.
And he will be back for later this season.
Okay.
I think
maybe he's going to be like a big VFX guy. Like maybe that's the guy we watch out for. And when his name pops up, he's like, Battle Lap.
I think that you're right on the nose on that front. I'm just quickly looking up that. But I do think like, and obviously money doesn't solve all the problems, but he's episode 6. So we're expecting big things for episode 6. 3 weeks from now.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner, just like Christmas.
Or we could be totally wrong. And maybe they gave him an episode that's like, you did the most VFX intense, so you get to do the least VFX intense for the next one.
Let everybody else have their fun there. But I do think that the talent is there. We've said from the beginning that there's no weak links in the cast. The cast is very strong. Masaria's voice acting was the weakest, but even then, it's gotten better. They've clearly worked with her since then.
And her whole character's just been backburnered, like the fourth row back.
Yeah. And so when you have the talent there to be putting up on screen, literally, in my opinion, the best thing to do is just keep funneling money and just sign the checks, because it's an investment. Whatever you put in, you will get out, because they're all so good at what they're doing. I know that Ryan Condal is getting a lot of hate online, specifically from the hardcore George fans of A Song of Ice and Fire. But I do think, as somebody who has not read these books, he is redeeming himself in a lot of ways. And I know it's not 100%.
That's the whole thing. It's like people, you go and look at The Shining. It's like it does not, like, the adaptation does not really line up, but like the cure all is just make a good thing.
Yeah.
Like if it's good enough, people won't care. And yes. I think it clears. I think that's what you were getting at.
Yes. I'm just
didn't mean to finish your thought for you.
No, you're good. Unfortunately, that would be wise, a thing that HBO is not. I mean, HBO, if you want to sponsor us, you're welcome to do so. I will not comment on that.
They're what? You're telling me they're not like super measured and like intelligent in all of their decision making over there?
They're better than most of other streaming services.
That's a whole other conversation. But
I mean, is there, like, which streaming service do you think does it better?
I mean, as far as like what streaming services a consumer with taste should subscribe to, HBO is way up there. HBO is like S tier for sure.
Yes.
But as far as like how the company is run, I don't really think this show is the forum for that. But they've been making some big swings. They and we're kind of talking Warner Bros now, which, like, what even is that? With we live
Paramount.
in
Warner Brothers is Paramount, which is owned by one person, it seems like. So all hail our god emperors.
But spend the money, sign the checks.
Yes, I genuinely think if you're willing, if you have the talent there, sign it. Like, I think that's the problem, because I feel like Rings of Power has the opposite problem. They are signing the checks, but most of the talent involved with
The choke is further, like it's earlier in the pipeline.
yes. It and there's some good actors and actresses in Rings of Power.
Sure.
I mean, they don't really get to shine.
That's yeah. Very talented people, but just the blandest characters. The nothing for anybody to latch on to, except for maybe Sauron.
Sauron's amazing. Like, he's literally the only reason to watch it, but
I liked that part where he turned into goop.
Indeed. But Austin, are you okay if we just dive into this first chapter of episode 3, Rhaenyra's Triumph?
Let's do it.
All righty. Daemon, Hugh, and Ulf bring their dragons to face the Hightower host. Lord Osmond Hightower agrees to disband and return to Old Town to save his men, while Darren's dragon, Tessarion, looms in the background. Daemon demands Alicent's youngest son, Daron. Ormond quickly hands over a nervous bleach blonde tween to Team Black. Rhaenyra takes the Iron Throne. Her mind begins to unravel under the immense psychological pressure. She is hallucinating, whispers, and people are unharvested, and the castle is quite literally run out of candles. Rhaenyra's first day hearing the petitioners is plagued by structural disaster. She discovers, to her immense frustration, that she is starting her period on her very first day on the throne, cursing aloud the inconvenience. Seeking religious legitimacy, Rhaenyra demands an official anointment from the High Septon. He flat out rejects her, refusing to accept Alicent's claim that Aegon II is dead, and openly condemns all Targaryen dragons as unholy abominations. Thing after thing after thing in this first episode. I mean, for this first chapter. I mean,
yeah, a fair bit to get to, but I think we definitely start with the top, because I mean, this is separate from the whole Rhaenyra arc, so sort of easier to talk about in isolation. Daemon defense, on or off?
I think it's on. I think it's on. If they just did what Daemon said to do,
oh my god, here we go.
They would not be going through this. Daemon said just take out their troops right there. Would that be a war crime? Absolutely. But they wouldn't have gone and taken Templeton later on in the episode. They were all right there, which also it's sort of hilarious. They said that there's 10,000 troops, which is supposedly the number of Uruk-hai that attack Helm's Deep, and that does not look like 10,000 troops that took on Helm's Deep.
Yes, but to their credit, the Helm's Deep army, I think, is mostly CGI generated, and they made a whole big to-do about how they actually did physical replication of the same group of soldiers rearranged in the behind-the-scenes featurette, which that's sort of what we were talking about, like sign the checks. That is the kind of shit that actually I think pays off and makes a product that's going to have, like, a piece of art that's going to have a legacy. But Carrie, yes, I would definitely put my money on the Uruk-hai of Isengard against this 10,000 under the Hightower's command.
Yeah, it felt like there was like 2,000 guys out there.
All the same, a formidable force of fellas.
Yes.
The setting looked really nice, and I think there's a lot of power in how they have just men on the one side, and it's just like a wall of dudes, and then the other side is just literally 3 dragons.
Yeah.
No additional support, and that's sort of like these 3 entities are worth more than your thousands.
Well, even just looking at the size difference between the dragons. Caraxes, I think, is the smallest of those 3 dragons, and Caraxes still makes Tessarion seem teeny tiny. I do want to quickly just highlight what Nana is saying there. I mean, the High Towers do live in a big tower like Saruman, so
more like it. Oh, but let's talk about Ormond a little bit in this episode, because I'm into this guy. I like where this character's headed already. wicked, like lying right through his teeth. This pulse, and like we picked up on it because we've been observing his aura and we know who this guy's related to. But I think he had Daemon fooled in this one.
Oh yeah. Well, this is what I think I was going to say this, but just held back from saying it. Daemon views the High Towers as just lower beings because they have the magic dragon blood, and everybody on Westeros is just commoners.
Yes, no, this is exactly what I loved, particularly in this scene from Matt Smith, is he has that rich person thing of like being upset that they have to do anything.
Yes.
Like he's talking to a great lord, and he's acting like it's like he's been asked to like babysit some obnoxious dog.
Well, and Nana might be correcting me over here, but the funny thing is, I think that's how Osmond is viewing Daemon, because
but Daemon is too proud to see that it's going that way even stronger,
because and we got a little bit in the mind of the average Westerosi person in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms when we got the fantastic line from what's the guy's name, the squire who becomes knighted and he becomes the green apple Fossaway. He's like, they're incestuous aliens, Duncan.
Oh, he's great, but I don't have it.
But I genuinely think that Raymond Fossaway, thank you, Nana. But he was just sitting there just saying that they're incestuous aliens. They came and took Westeros away from them, and they're just crazier and crazier. I genuinely think that Osmond buys hook, line, and sinker into that mentality and just views them as just degenerate, like, magicians that come in and just are only special because of their dragons, and if it wasn't for those dragons, they'd be nothing. So, because as we've mentioned before, the High Towers are wealthier than wealth can imagine. They've got crazy amounts of money.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's like the rich person. It's like
Yes.
Kevin O'Leary in fucking Marty Supreme, where it's just like anytime he has to do anything, he's just like, what? It's just like that insane privilege. Like it's something that you did also sense a little bit in Otto, but I think that's what makes them so dangerous is that they will pretend to turn that off.
Yes. Well,
they know enough to like be able to conceal.
And what I'm really excited, and we obviously got to see a taste of it in this episode, is that Osmond is giving that vibe that he is just as intelligent as Otto. He just was raised in a militaristic mindset rather than like playing court mindset. And I'm so excited to see how this plays out in a battlefield war setting versus how Otto's planning played out in court.
Actor's doing a great job. I'm excited to see where it goes too. And as far as like the big play of this episode is that he gives him the wrong kid.
Yeah,
that's like epic, dude. That is some epic Westeros politics shenanigans.
And they straight up like Daemon failed his inside check completely there.
But there's also like Daemon thinks they've won.
Oh, yeah.
He basically says so once he gets back to King's Landing. So you can tell in his performance that he thinks he's just on a victory lap. Like his guard is down.
Yes.
Throughout, and that's consistent through the entire episode. He's like sarcastic. He's not taking things seriously. He's more casual than basically anybody else in this world, in this episode.
And in his defense, the only real threat...
In his Daemon defense, which is still on.
Yeah, the Daemon defense is still on.
He's a wicked, wicked man.
He is a very wicked man. But the only real threat is Vhagar. If Tessarion tries to come to King's Landing, that dragon's not making it out.
Yeah, that's going to be a jump.
Yeah. I mean,
we just get Vermithor on the case.
yeah, you don't even have to get Thermon. You could probably get Cyrax.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the case of like a dragon can take on a dragon, and basically that's the only thing that can take on a dragon. But come on now.
Yeah, I did really like. No, that conversation is later, so I'll hold that conversation when Daemon was talking to Rhaenyra. I am very curious to get your thoughts on them depicting Rhaenyra this way while obviously like portraying her being on her period. Like,
Okay,
I think that's a little like, because isn't that like the whole like right wing? It's like a woman can't be president because what if she has to be at war and she's on her
and what if she's on her period or worse, pregnant?
And like that's the only thing that I was thinking this episode is like I feel like they were just sort of giving almost fuel to that theory or idea that she's like, because she's clearly out of her depth. She is, I mean, she does some pretty good things in this episode, but this entire episode, she's giving the perception that she is just almost flailing.
Yeah, and I said it in the reaction. I'm like, at least she's making choices,
Yes.
which she recognizes early that she needs to project that she knows what she's doing. So I think that a forgiving reading of her actions in this episode is possible from that perspective. She also does some pretty fucked up stuff.
Oh, yeah, but we love the fucked up shit she does. I also really think that they're taking us down the Mad Queen route, but I feel like that.
So, I mean, let's talk about the period thing though.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that it's our place to dwell on this, but that did feel a little put on to me, especially because I feel like there's some kind of feminist tie into this that is just sort of going over my head. Maybe in the way that she powers through this, or maybe it's representative of something else. But it did just kind of feel like it was there for its own sake, for my reading. But I want to leave space for there to be something else. Like, do you have any theories on that?
There's the one scene where they're at the small council table, which they're not using orbs.
There's also just, there's so much, I know, like metaphor in like blood in this show.
I do want to circle back on that, but to the point, she pushes away that tea that her handmaid provides her, saying like, hey, this is going to help with the cramps, like this is going to help with the pain. So to me, her pushing that away is like, no, I'm trying to prove myself that I don't need any special treatment that any of the other
Okay, so I
kids.
missed that. I saw her push it away, but I thought that was just her like, okay. That would track then, that because she has probably heard this narrative that you're talking about of a woman can't rule because of woman problems. So for her to know she's like now being put to the test over one of her harshest criticisms, or what would have been probably something she's heard throughout her whole life, you can see a desire for her to push through that, even if it's not like really practical, or even if she doesn't have anywhere near the bandwidth to take that on.
Yes. I definitely think that is the direction they're trying to go, but I also think there's a little hidden direction. One thing that I have heard, she should have had it in the privacy of her quarters. Well, yes, Nana, I want you to hear this because you were saying that it seemed out of place and you didn't get it, because something that I've heard about the books, Fire and Blood, but haven't obviously read, is that when Rhaenyra first sits the throne and starts ruling, apparently it's reported that she cut herself or she was bleeding. And in the Westerosi lore, when you cut yourself on the throne, that's the throne rejecting you, saying that you are not meant to rule.
Right, and we saw that with Viserys in the first season.
Yes. But what I think this could be is, and it's very much said in Fire and Blood, that because it's the idea is it's all these accounts accumulated together and people are sharing and saying what they believe, and it's acknowledged that this could be very much skewed or said to prop up one side or the other, maybe Team Green takes that narrative and her bleeding on her first day on the throne is that. It's not necessarily that the throne cut her, but
Alrighty, I see where you're getting with this. So maybe the secret concept behind the show is that the show is trying to present a quote unquote neutral representation of the accounting of events as much as you could.
Yes.
But the book, the source material, is recognized as having a strong bias to the winning team.
Because and Nana can attest this, and well, Nana is attesting this over here. I genuinely thought that she was going to cut herself, because when she's on the throne, she's like on the side of her chair, just tapping at it, like running her finger over there. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is when she's going to cut herself, and everybody's going to see that and lose faith. But that didn't happen. So what I'm sort of thinking is that Laris still has spies in the castle, and maybe even has spies among Rhaenyra's handmaids, and has found out like, oh, she bled on the first day of her being on the throne.
Or yeah, maybe there's going to be some assertion that they found blood on the throne.
Yes.
And then they extrapolated.
Exactly. So they're going to take that front and be able to twist it, because I mean, Laris is far from done, and I am going to stand on this. Laris, I think, is a better Littlefinger than Littlefinger.
He's the evil spider.
He's Varys, and he's
is he not?
I mean, yes, but Varys was doing it. I mean, to the book, he was doing it all in the name of the Blackfires. Debatable, but I still stand by that. But Laris is doing this for himself. Like, Laris is trying to get himself. He clearly has ambitions of being the hand of the king. Like, that is. Or the foot of the king.
Yes. It's just so obvious. I didn't want to say it, but somebody had to. Thank you.
But like, even with just like there, Nana saying with the symbolism of the rats being all there, I think that that's something that he even put into Aemon's thought of killing all the rat catchers. Like, this is all just pretext that he took.
Right. Yeah.
So that when Rhaenyra did come, the gold is gone. So they're broke. The rats are infesting the castle. So everything is just absolutely miserable. And to top it all off, like, they think they've won, so that Team Green can just like regroup, recenter, and get ready to strike again.
Nasty play, Laris boy. I see. I'd have the god perspective of watching the TV show, and I wasn't even picking up on all of these moves. Holy cow!
That's what I'm saying. He's better than he's the best to ever do it. He's the GOAT.
Okay, we're in the beginnings of season 3 here. Well, let's see how this story plays out. But that's awesome. I'm glad that we talked about that. I'm glad that we talked about the Rhaenyra and Aunt Flo, like that. I appreciate the context on that. I'm liking all of this a lot more for our discussion.
And I definitely do think that, is there anything on either of those subjects that you want to touch base, or I did just want to touch on the Septon conversation?
I'll just say that they're continuing from the previous episode, the sort of horror movie aspect, especially in the scoring. This beginning especially, it's scored like an Ari Aster movie, like with scary, dissonant pluckings and strings and sort of like eerie framing for Rhaenyra at times.
The score's amazing.
You feeling it?
I was loving it.
Is it Jewity?
Is it what?
Ramin Djawadi?
I think so.
The guy, like, yeah. Who else going to be?
He's the best in television.
But to his credit, he's definitely mixing it up.
Yes,
like this feels new to the Westeros for me. That okay, yep. I'll also say Daemon is having a like ridiculous amount of, like, Matt Smith seems to be having so much fun in this show. And while Daemon's defense is on, like I might want to switch it off for chapter 2 if we can do that.
Do our best. I'll do my best. So I've been seeing a meme that's been going around, and it has to be somebody on Team Green who made this meme, and it was like it just listed it just
the last
listed
two.
all the things that Daemon has done, and it's like, how can you guys defend this guy? How can you back him? Like, this guy is awful. He's not a good person. And the top comment underneath was like, we don't like him because he's a good person. We like him because we like people that get shit done. And you can't deny that Daemon does not get shit done.
No, okay. I'm gonna say something controversial
on this podcast.
This one, like, just like plainly, like I do not think it's that hard to make like a Donald Trump Daemon Targaryen analog, just in the sense of it's like that, like he just is so unapologetically what he is, and for some people that's enough. And I'm not going to go any deeper on that analogy, but I do think that that is something that the writers of this show are very conscious of. And it's also something that, like, when people talk about like the charisma of both of these individuals, like that can be kind of perplexing because you're just like, what the hell? Like, you look at the rep sheet, but there's a meme at play.
The only pushback that I'd say is, you're right. Like, there's always there's a level of just complete egotisticalness and just level of just always being right. But at the same time, could you ever in a million years imagine DT, the Golden Emperor, kneeling to his daughter if she was ever named president?
No.
Yeah. And Daemon, that was the big thing for Daemon, is that he kneeled to Rhaenyra in front of her army at the end of season 2. Like, that was Daemon's big character development thing there. I do think that they're definitely playing with that. I just think that it's more that Daemon is just such a narcissist in general, but he also is he loves Rhaenyra and is devoted to Rhaenyra, and that just got solidified in season 2. So
there's also something to be said that he's like so pleased now because it's like that move he made, which there was clearly some calculation in that, is paying off exactly how he wanted it to.
Yes. Because he gets to do exactly, because if he was king, could you imagine if Daemon was going through that episode when Rhaenyra was?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I want the next episode to be the same day from Daemon's perspective, and it's just like Funky Town in the background the whole time. He's like high-fiving the gold cloaks.
Gets up at 10:30.
Joy rides his dragon around King's Landing just for the hell of it.
They go and blast a couple high tower ships just for kicks and giggles.
See, and that's part of the difficult thing in discussing this show is, I think we've given enough context to be like, Daemon's brand of being awful and evil and like a murderer and like an incestuous, like really fucked up dude. It's a lot more fun than the it's honestly a lot tamer, like evil shit that people like Rhaenyra are up to, or like when Alicent's up on some fuck shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
so it can be frustrating because then people are like, it's like, oh man, this chick always bringing down the vibes, and it's like. They kind of built the show this way by having the female characters more central so that they can't like wild out and spin off until this episode when Rhaenyra gets her. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, I love it. And I also do think, and this is something that's been repeatedly brought up, especially in the comments here, is that of all of George R. R. Martin's characters, Daemon is his favorite that he's created because he truly views Daemon not as somebody who is purely evil.
I mean, it's like him and Tyrion. That's what I've heard.
Well, Tyrion, I think, is his favorite in the show, and he obviously just sees a lot of like, but Daemon is strictly just his favorite because he is just so he's gray. He's morally gray. He gets shit done, and I mean, I'm sure he was such a fun character to write. Like, I'm sure,
No doubt.
like as a writer, I'm not as a somebody who writes in their free time.
You are a writer.
I just would love to like coming up with a character like that is just so morally gray, but at the same time is on the right side. It's, I mean, in my opinion, just by the fact that that George is saying that he's morally gray, that almost tells me that he's Team Black over here.
He's really like if Bronn was a Targaryen.
Yes.
From the original Game of Thrones.
If Bronn was a Targaryen, I mean, could you imagine the ego on that motherfucker?
Yeah.
It's Daemon.
It's Daemon. DT. All right. Can we turn Daemon defense off?
Yeah, we could turn it off.
All right.
It's off. I feel like there's some
all right. I mean, things just got a lot more serious all of a sudden. I don't know if you could feel that.
Do we want to move on to chapter 2, or is there anything in chapter 1 that we want to go over?
Yeah, no, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Chapter 2. Rhaenyra imprisons Alicent and Helaena. Alicent begs to be released, but Rhaenyra refuses, citing that she would appear weak for releasing any high towers. During this conversation, they let slip in front of Helaena that Alicent and Rhaenyra plotted to have Aegon killed and offer up the throne to Rhaenyra. Trying to alleviate the city's famine, Rhaenyra proposes opening the private royal forest to starving peasant hunters. Lord Corlys strongly objects, arguing that her royal ancestors would be appalled by the breach of majestic tradition. Terrified of fueling the dangerous whispers surrounding the illegitimacy of her own heir, Joffrey, Rhaenyra refuses to elevate Corlys's out-of-wedlock sons. When she knights the Dragonsteeds, she dubs them Ulf the White, Hugh the Hammer, and Alan of Hull, pointedly withholding the Velaryon name. Enraged by Rhaenyra's blatant political hypocrisy, Corlys loses his temper and yells at the top of his lungs that Rhaenyra's own sons are bastards, echoing the exact fatal treason that his brother Daemon committed in season 1. Intent on avenging her dead children, Rhaenyra orders her husband Daemon to hunt down and slaughter the riders of Vhagar and Sheepstealer.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. That Corlys scene was insane.
To round it out?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the two then, because there's the dinner and then there's like the knighting where she did, or whatever, the coronation.
Yeah.
Where they do not name Adam of Velaryon. But and then there's the scene where Corlys calls her out on that.
Yes.
And the drama of this 1, 2, 3 really did it for me. I'll just cop to it.
I was laughing though, because Corlys was there, like, you might have noticed that these are my sons. and
it's like gentlemanly.
And Rhaenyra was like, I had not noticed, but now that you mention it, I see a resemblance. And I'm just like, this is...
And I appreciate, I think that they trusted the audience enough to recognize that, like, obviously the subtext here is Rhaenyra, your children had common blood. You should be, well, okay, but like,
they're bastards.
They're bastards. You should be cool with this. And like, he's giving her that opportunity to save face, and she passes it up.
And in this part particularly, I was really like, Rhaenyra does make some awesome moves, and I think some of these moves are going to be coming more up in chapter 3. But I think my problem that I have with Rhaenyra right now is that she's obviously intelligent, and Mysaria is very intelligent, but they both think that they're more intelligent than they actually are, and they're falling for so many of Team Green's traps because of that, in my opinion. Like, they're completely underestimating Laris, and I think that that's going to lead to just catastrophic.
Is Laris going to be top 3 characters in the show?
He probably is. Like, I genuinely think that he's going to end the show. He's going to do well during the Liz.
It's gonna end up being the real decision between am I actually Team Green or Team Black is not am I with Rhaenyra or Alicent, it's am I with Laris or Daemon. Which is a horrible, you know, it's like analogous to our modern day elections, really. Because, you know, I'd rather neither.
Yeah,
because I just remembered the Daemon defense was on.
Well, no, we turned the Daemon defense off.
Yeah, it's off. That's you know what I meant.
Yeah, I just was reminding the audience over here. I understand that Rhaenyra is doing what she thinks is best. And this is not necessarily Daemon defense, but this is more like Daemon's idea, is they do have 6 dragons. They have the 6 most powerful dragons with the exception of Vhagar. They can do whatever they want. Something that we haven't really touched about, but Dorne is still its own independent country. It's not a part of the 7 kingdoms right now.
All right.
They don't conquer Dorne for like another 100 years or so.
And this is what Daemon is like pushing for. He's like, let's keep it rolling.
He's like, yeah, like we just barreled right through.
That's what he said. Big Valkyrie manservants. That can be us. Just another 3-4 empires. We can do it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I get it, the appeal, but I think they should probably solve some of these problems they're dealing with in King's Landing first.
Well, what Daemon is saying there, okay, Darren II, aka Baelor Breakspear's daddy. So the guy who, spoiler alert, the guy who died in Night of the 7 Kingdoms, his father was the Targaryen king that conquered Dorne. And I think actually to seal the peace, he married a princess of Dorne, which is why Baelor has the brown hair and not the Targaryen white hair. Cool. Because his mother is Dornish. But that's needed. I'm right.
Got him.
But there's some truth to that, though, because right now they don't know where the gold is. They're about to go bankrupt. And as awful as it is, they need money. So they can technically just go around and be like, all right, tribute's up. Pay the crown.
Oh, yeah. And we were talking about it a little bit while we were watching the episode, that what Corlys is asking is minor shit.
Yes.
And when he calls her out in that scene where he's like, I have done everything and you will not grant me this, I think he is as in the right as basically any character in a scene like that has been in the history of Westeros represented on screen. And just for that character, who I have so much respect for, and as previously discussed, is basically the only character who's on like an upward moral trajectory in the entire show, for him to be the one that calls her out on the like insane hypocrisy, it was just so satisfying. And the drama of that, it's like peeking into like insane, like is this across the line into like soap opera shit? But I think it was earned, because this is something we've sat on for a long time, and he's been establishing himself with Team Black. I mean, maybe he didn't recognize it at the initially, but his big play now that he's like, we won, you won because of me, is I need you to do this one thing for her to say no. Like, fuck you, Rhaenyra. Like, get her, Corlys.
But it goes even a step further, because in his mind, he thinks Daemon killed his son or had his son killed. So
Right.
there's a whole nother level to that.
And he didn't even bring that up.
Yeah. He would have had every right to do that. I will say
the ripples of this are going to be crazy.
Oh, they're going to be so crazy, because as Nana is saying right here, it was certainly earned. I'm just worried about the consequences are going to be for Corlys, because he screamed that in front of the gold cloaks.
No, it was deliberate.
Yeah. So what is going to happen?
But he followed all protocol, is what I'm saying.
Oh, of course.
So I think this is really teeing up a very natural point that could actually break Rhaenyra, because the only way that she can get out of this is to compromise herself in some way.
Well, that's the problem that I think Rhaenyra's like juggling with during this episode, and I think we'll talk about at the end of this episode, is has to fight between being a complete dictator or being a benevolent ruler. And she is really trying to be more of that benevolent ruler than that dictator, because
yeah, but she's turning into a progressive tyrant, which is a tyrant all the same.
Oh, of course. But like what she's going to have to, if she's going to be successful, she either is going to just have to be 100% a dictator, 100% a tyrant. And just because the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of things that she has done in her past to make it so that there is unshaky ground for Team Black. And she's just trying to like smooth over it and like ski past it with not acknowledging any of it. But those eggs are going to hatch. Like, they're going to hatch one way or another.
We nerds remember, as do the people who have had family members murdered, whole civilizations that have been crippled, generations gutted.
Yeah. And I genuinely think that the only way Rhaenyra can get through this right now, and it's not a good option, is if she goes completely like dictatorial, like martial law ruler, and be like, okay, I will give bread to those who serve me, but I'll bring swords to those who curse me. And
yeah, and I appreciate that, because we can assume, we're not book readers, but
yeah,
we know that Rhaenyra is going to get worse. Like, that's the way things are headed. Yeah. But I appreciate that they're rolling it out with some patience, and that, like we said, you see a change in Rhaenyra over the course of this episode, but she gets a crazy amount of screen time here, so yeah. I think it's appropriate.
Yes. And what I also think is just so fascinating is if you go back to the beginning of season 3 in episode 1, she's almost giddy and like schoolgirly with how she's acting when she's unlaying her plan to take King's Landing. And all of that is gone. Like, there is no...
She says it out loud later in the episode that all she feels is rage.
Yeah.
Which is what I would feel if my son had just been killed in this super stressful war that I got into for some reason, and I have literally no friends and no spark of joy in my life, but I also have to like lead the world into a new golden age, I guess.
Dude, that line from Helena.
Oh yeah, she's like, you feel better or whatever. That's not how she said it, but
she was like, oh, how did she's like, does it feel better? Do you feel better from Jace's death? Like,
all right, what's Nana got on here? I see some comments stacking up, but I took my contacts out between the reaction and now, so it's a little fuzzy.
Here, there was a seed from this though that was in the beginning in season 1, episode 4.
Season 1,
Season 1, episode 4, when she watched the Mummer show and said that she was not concerned with the opinion of smallfolk.
I should also just say that I love the like throne room forum that has been represented in various points in this show and in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I think that that's a there's some like practical, just like, oh, this is how a kingdom could function, like stuff that I like, nerdy stuff that I like. And there's also some idealism to that it's like I enjoy the idea of a kingdom being simple enough that that its problems could realistically be solved by the supreme leader just talking to representatives of the people for a few hours a week. But yeah, you get into this scene and it's interesting how easily persuaded Rhaenyra is by coming face to face with the commoners, as
Yeah.
it was. I think that that's representative of some humanity still within her, that still plays to her. But then there's also always the question of, because like I think Daemon later cast out that he's like, they paid actors. None of their problems are real, and there's nothing you can do about it if they are.
Well, and Nana's saying this as well, and I really thought that this is the case that almost mirrors of Aegon when he sat the throne. Because if we think back with the first couple times that Aegon did ruling, he was actually quite generous with the people. Like they
Yeah. Good guy, Aegon. Team Green remembers.
Team Green. Yeah, Aegon's a great guy, isn't he? He's the best moral character on Team Green.
Let's not get started there. I'm going to need a separate button if we want to have that conversation.
But I think it's also a lot harder because they're both just so inexperienced. Because, yes, in a lot of ways, both of them were being like mentored and trained by their respective mentors to rule. Aegon being trained by Otto because Otto was like, this is going to, I'm going to make sure you're king. While Rhaenyra being trained by both Daemon and Viserys because Viserys named her the heir and Daemon wants to be as close to the throne as possible. So, but at the same time, it's both of those where they're just sort of being crushed by the throne. I mean, with at least Aegon, he surrounded himself with a council that can like take on a lot of the problems, while Rhaenyra, I think, is suffering from where she thinks that she can handle all of the issues, and I think that that's going to slowly just crush her. Is that she like yes, her small council were doubting her, but she needs advisors. If those people are not going to be good advisors, go find a new advisor. Then you need people there to share the load.
I mean, I just got to get this in here that quite clearly with the death of Jace, there is nobody in her circle that is actually like emotionally invested in her psychological well-being. And obviously Jace was wrong in his like move that he made to lock her down and like stifle her agency in that. But he did that out of genuine concern for like her well-being, more her physical well-being than mental, but that familial appreciation is now gone because she's not getting that from Daemon.
No.
And you see that and then her like she's clearly crashing out in the small council scene. No orbs out. What the hell are we even doing?
It's not even a meeting. It's not even session.
No, we're not talking. We're speaking past each other, more likely than not. But she's clearly unwell, and there's just like no acknowledgement of that. Not a, hey, you all right, babe? Like nothing.
Well, the problem is too is Daemon is quite literally the only person that could approach her, and
yes, because she has this like aura that she has to that is kind of put on, but she has to live up to. It's a bad situation, man.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that it's not necessarily that Rhaenyra is going to go mad because she's crazy. I think that she's just going to try to put the weight of the kingdom on herself and just take on all of that. And
but this is me saying that there's no one else in the way to stop her from doing it. So I think we're on the trajectory. I agree with you.
Well, and to take it another step it forward, the only person that could have done that, but not necessarily from a place of love, but more of a place of practicality and just like, no, this needs to be done, was Corlys. And she like, I would be surprised if Corlys doesn't step down as Hand of the King.
Well, Rhaenyra has burned all the bridges.
Yeah,
in this very episode.
The only bridge she has not burned is with Massaria.
Right. Or like, I guess technically Daemon, but like that's, they're in it to the end.
Yeah, like I mean they're Bonnie and Clyde over here, but
better or worse.
Better or worse.
This so sorry, I feel like we are, because the ceremony where they are knighted is also in this.
Yeah.
And I think we need to acknowledge that we have now met Ulf the White, and who comes back to us at the turn of the tide. I'm sure that he's going to make the biggest difference at some point in this series.
And something that just we've been slowly talking about this, but just the level of disdain that they have towards them just for being bastards. Like when Ulf was like, well, I am a Targaryen. What can I do? And she's like, no, absolutely
not. Which is, that could be like maybe that was the moment where she made up her mind about what she was going to do with Adam moments later.
Well, I think there was a cut to Adam there when that happened.
Did Ulf fuck it up for Adam?
Well,
and Corlys and Rhaenyra and all of Westeros?
I genuinely think that if she would have done that, again, what would they do? Like, what would the land do? What if he would have done that and named them Targaryens? Like, one, I think that would have bonded them to Rhaenyra for life.
Yeah, they could. Well, yes, and she needs that.
Yeah,
she needs fanatics. She needs more Daemons at this point. Look at me. I'm talking like I want her to win here. But I understand like the distinction of like the magic dragon blood and like the acclaim and the prestige of that needs to remain intact. But I'm like, okay, no, just name these people Targaryens too. You're going to devalue the brand 5%, but you're also going to inspire your entire populace. Like this can be the American dream, the American scheme. Like you can be a Targaryen too. More like probably not. Like for every 10,000 of you that try, only one of you going to get there. But you know what I'm saying? Like I do not see the problem that Rhaenyra sees with this, other than her own insecurity about her legitimacy of her heirs. Well,
and here it's Nana's saying this, and this leads into what I was going to say. Well, if Hugh's mother really is Rhaenyra Targaryen, he practically is as much a Targaryen as Rhaenyra is. And
that could get awkward.
Yeah. Which
because he's a dude.
Well, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nana, but that is a daughter of Jaehaerys. So that would make him a grandson of Jaehaerys.
And people like Jaehaerys. He's like the Abraham Lincoln of the Targaryen lineage.
He is. He's like Abraham Lincoln. He's like FDR. He's
the one guy, and a big part of it is that he's been dead so long. But it's just like everybody was about Jaehaerys.
Well, and they even say like that Jaehaerys is widely considered to be the most successful king in Westerosi history. So
I would have voted for him.
I would have voted for him as well. And he had beautiful hair, apparently. So
it comes with the terror. It's magic blood.
It's to me, I really think, and this is just going back to what I was saying earlier, she needs to have that mindset of like, what are you going to do about it? Like, she cares too much about what the people think. She cares too much about the tabloids.
Sure.
And I think she just needs to have the mentality that Aegon the Conqueror and his sisters had of like, okay, what are you going to do? We have 3 ancient dragons here. Talk your shit. Say it with your chest. And I think Rhaenyra just needs to have that same mentality of like, okay, I've got 6 dragons, but I really think that this puritanism that they have, this just I'm better than you mentality that she has towards like Ulf, towards Hugh, towards Alan.
I mean, more likely than not, she has some version of what Daemon was displaying in that first scene.
No, for sure.
The holier than thou thing.
I mean, they have the magic blood, and let's highlight this as well.
This is a big thing I like about Team Green, just for the record.
Yeah, keeping the pilots of your biggest nukes tied to your bloodline is something Rhaenyra really glosses over. Yeah, like Silverwing and Vermithor are bigger than Caraxes and bigger than Moon Dancer and most definitely bigger than Joffrey's dragon.
No, see, that's a great point, because that's what I'm talking about here. Is it's like, haven't we already crossed this bridge? Like, isn't this like you gave these dragons to these like illegitimate dragon seeds?
Yeah.
So to me, that is 5 steps beyond naming them Targaryens. But I guess there's the official capacity, like the history books are going to see it a certain way, but they got the dragons already. Like, the writing's on the wall, and she just doesn't seem to want to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and if her fear is that she doesn't want to elevate them too high because they might get too like
High and mighty,
like
there are ways around that. You know,
that's the thing. Daemon and Caraxes are probably the best dragon rider combo in Westeros right now.
Oh, and if you want somebody that's good at keeping people under their thumb, you just tell Daemon, hey, keep an eye, Ulf and Hugh over here. I'm not so sure on them, and it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah,
because if it is, they die. We'll just we'll find another dragon seed, and somebody will have a baby. You know, there are Targaryens around.
Yeah, I mean, it seems it. I really think that Rhaenyra, in a lot of ways, is very prepared to be queen, but she's also, and I think that this is just more backing up my claim earlier that she thinks that she is smarter than she actually is, and it just echoes back to that saying that Tywin Lannister says in season 1 so beautifully: the lion does not concern himself with the opinion of sheep, which is on every entrepreneur's wall and every
regrettably, yes, but in the actual show, pretty dope line.
Yeah, and I really think that she needs to have some of that mentality. Like, I mean, I don't
like, she does really just need to get more dude bro with it, and yeah. I'm sorry to be so like basic there, but she just needs to be a douche about it for a minute.
Yeah,
is that in summarizing what we're trying to get across here?
Exactly. Like I said, she needs to be militant. She needs to just give no fucks, and she just needs to be like, she just needs to come in with the carrot or stick approach. She's been doing a great job with the carrot. She does a fantastic job with the carrot, but she's not being as stick hard. Like, we'll talk about how she brought the stick approach with a few people in this next chapter, but I think she could. I mean, yes, Daemon is her stick, but she could have 3 more sticks.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves because it's exactly what Alicent tells her.
Yeah,
it's exactly what's. And is that in this chapter, or is that the next? Because I think that's coming up.
That is in the next chapter.
Okay, all right.
Which
I'll save it.
Do you want to go into that, or is there anything else in this chapter?
Let's give it a go.
All righty, chapter 3. To punish King's Landing's wealthy 1% for hoarding the resources during the blockade, Rhaenyra hosts a ruthless banquet where she serves them grilled rats, which are overrun in the city since Aegon II hanged the rat catchers. She confiscates the noble's food for retribution, a radical move that permanently alienates her richest citizens. Daemon scorns the petty details of feeding small folk and urges Rhaenyra to think bigger. Armed with twice as many dragons as Aegon the Conqueror, the rogue prince pushes for a total global conquest, dreaming of casting dragon shadows across the distant lands where men are rumored to have wings. Rhaenyra attempts the act of mercy by offering exile to Alicent's hostage son Daemon to the Night's Watch at the Wall for life. However, when she allows Alicent a final meeting with the boy, Alicent's reaction exposes the truth. The bleach blonde boy is merely a decoy delivered by the deceptive Lord Ormond Hightower. The episode concludes in a dark strategic stalemate. The real Prince Daemon and his dragon Tessarion are revealed to be in a nearby city of Tumbleton, which has been brutally invaded by the Hightower army. Because Tumbleton houses Rhaenyra's supporters, including Sir Hugh's wife, the Greens now hold an entire city as a human shield that the black dragons cannot burn. Rhaenyra is left staring before a bonfire of her enemies' banners, where the frame blurry heavy around her hardened face. I
You liked it?
loved, because I didn't know when it was going to end. I thought it was going to end at like 6 different points there.
They've been doing that in these last, and I'm like, moving forward, I almost don't want to know the runtime that we're getting into, because like you really felt that the episode could have ended like a good 15 minutes before it felt like it did.
Well, I first thought it was going to end when Rhaenyra was handing out the food. And then I thought it was going to end when Rhaenyra discovered that Daeron's copy was a copy. But then it actually ended.
A copy. An imposter. Yes.
An imposter. But there's just so much that I genuinely enjoyed about this wrapping up, because I am really curious to see how long this, like, giving the food of the wealthy to the people is going to build favor with her. And if she's smart, she will publicize what she did to the nobles up at the castle and tell them that she had rats and maggots prepared for them.
Yeah, and if Dan Fogler is right, they'll even forget that she caused all these problems to begin with.
Exactly. But
the people's memories are short.
The people's memories, and yeah, it's only with the small folk, though. She's pissed off the nobility.
That's what I'm saying. She's burned all the bridges this episode.
But here's the thing that, and again, this goes back to, you have motherfucking dragons. Do not give a shit about what they think. Like, yes, they can make life hell, but if they start causing problems, all you have to do is go a little Targaryen and start taking hostages to the castle.
Mm-hmm. And you don't even have to do it. It's like you were saying in our reaction. I don't think that we don't think Rhaenyra has actually killed anybody.
No,
like knife in hand. Killed anybody in the show, because there's that part where it's like, oh my god, is she gonna murder young Daemon, or the imposter Daemon, but we don't know that yet. And then no, she doesn't, because she doesn't like getting her hands dirty, but she's caught Daemon for that.
Well, that's their whole taking King's Land, like the Red Keep. She has her sword drawn the entire time. No, Austin, she has killed one person.
Oh,
she killed Otto.
That's right. Okay, and this is brand new. How could we miss that?
Because we're so used to Daemon. We know Daemon wanted to do that.
Legitimately, if you'd have asked me who killed Otto, I probably would have said Daemon, and that was 1 week ago. Holy cow.
Here's the thing. How turned on was Daemon when Rhaenyra killed Otto?
I legitimately don't know. I don't think his dick works anymore, but I've tried not to give it too much thought.
I think he at least emotionally was more turned on than he's ever been in his life.
Emotionally turned on. Yes, for sure. But we breezed right by that banger scene with Alicent and Rhaenyra.
Yes.
And there's not much to say other than Olivia Cook totally brought it and dropped a bunch of heaters there. Where basically she says, in talking about what it takes to rule, she says, "You may not rule and remain yourself." She goes on about how much you have to compromise and the wicked things you have to do, and sort of illustrates her disassociative strategy that she took as depicted earlier in the series. She's stayed true to, I think she's a woman on a mission to protect her one daughter that she still likes. And like she had some honestly pretty funny line readings if you take them at a distance here, where she's like, "It's funny being here, seeing you." Like she just recognizes the like horrific, uh, overbearing tragedy of their circumstances of everyone involved, and she's like, "Let's just get it on, let's get it over with." And I like that from her.
I just wish that they would either have her be a little bit more angry or just completely almost team flipping at this point. Like,
No, I think the consistency is good because she has like stuck to the plan as much as she could. She's a weirdly idealistic character.
yeah, I won't argue with that. I just, to me, it seems like she's trying to be helpful still. And it's just Rhaenyra keeps on double crossing her. And
Alicent should not be trusting Rhaenyra any
no,
more than like at this point. 100% Alicent should be trying to double cross. I give her permission if she needs it from me, which she doesn't. But she's a kind of one of the more moral characters of the show to this day, and that's not the debate I want to be having right now. But the scene with her and Rhaenyra was really good.
it was. I do really think that because something that was really popular that Daenerys was trying to do in a Game of Thrones is she was like, I'm going to break the wheel. The wheel has been turning and I'm going to finally break the wheel. And I think that there's a lot of that energy that Rhaenyra has is that she's being idealistic about, I'm going to change how things actually are and make it so that I don't have to change myself. I can be who I am, but also be the queen.
Oh,
That
she's drinking the Kool-Aid a bit earlier in the episode where she's like talking to the High Septon, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, "Was it not that I?" And maybe she's saying this because she's trying to talk his language, but she's like, "Isn't the reason that I'm here because the gods will it so? Like, isn't my very existence divine?" And even if she's just saying that to win an argument, there, her actions kind of suggest that she at least believes that to some degree.
and it's just I think
It's
I
just what?
it, the message that I'm just been trying to bring across this entire episode is she's trying to half-ass being a dictator. Like
Yes, and that is what Alicent told her. She's like, because that's what Rhaenyra's struggling with it clearly, and she almost no, she does. She asks Alicent like, "How did you manage this?" I'm kind of getting a sense of what the actual job is, and then Alicent's like, "Well, you're gonna have to be a bad person from here on out." And I don't think that Rhaenyra was ready to hear that.
no, she wanted to hear like, oh, you just have to it's going to get better. You're going to it's
She couldn't handle the truth.
she couldn't handle the truth. And again, that's just reflecting to me that she's just not quite ready to be queen. And she needs to accept, like,
Is anyone ever ready?
no, I mean, obviously not. But the problem is that she has isolated herself from all of her advisors that can give her the needed advice to properly rule the kingdom. And because I think there's a famous quote that says something along the lines, a great leader themselves is not defined of like what they do, but by the people they surround themselves with. And I think that that's something that Rhaenyra is just not looking at. Like, let's think about back in season 1. The most success and the best that we saw in Westeros was when Viserys had
The dream team.
well, when he had the original Papa Strong. They had Laris's dad as the hand of the king. Like that was when things were the best. Like that wasn't because Viserys was a good king. We all know he was not a good king.
There's a lot to be said for, I think Rhaenyra has a naive perspective of like one man, woman, person, Targaryen changing the world. And that is not true to our reality or the reality of Westeros. And you recognize that the most powerful people in the history of this world have had dozens of other great, with a capital G, people behind them. And the same is true for us. Like, I actually think there's a fair bit of commentary on like the nature of like celebrity and like public representation and perception in this show. But that is something that is like weirdly like a thing that goes unacknowledged in our society, is that you think about somebody like Brad Pitt or like Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift is 150 people. And I'm not talking about like switching faces and stuff. I'm just saying the amount of people it takes to produce Taylor Swift. It's insane.
Congratulations on getting married this week.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I didn't even mean that, but come on. We got to take the wins where we get them.
Our royal wedding.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Queen.
But
IRL, the real queen.
I mean, it sounds like
the real dark queen.
Can't wait to hear the first single about her divorce. That's from Nana over here.
Okay, but speaking of Taylor Swift, y'all see Toy Story 5? That shit was good.
No dragons.
She did a song, and it was not as good as Randy Newman, but the movie was really good.
Be sure to go see Toy Story 5 at the theater near you.
Oh, yeah. See, it's struggling. We got to get that box office up, or they're not going to make another one.
Yeah, we're getting paid to say that. They're really struggling.
But it is very good.
I mean, we've already sort of talked on just how Ormond is just going to be such a player this season. I'm just so excited to be able to see
the payoff. There's so much potential, and I'm like starting to get anxious that they're not going to meet the mark, but it's been great so far.
What I'm also getting anxious on is, where is our Aegon episode?
Are you asking for one in this style that's just going to be Aegon coming up to sort of counterbalance the emphasis on Team Black?
I want it to at least be in half an episode, because we've been only getting like 5-10 minute increments.
Well, what you want as the counterbalance to this is you want a Laris Aegon episode.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Team Green, a compelling drama.
I want to see what those rat bastards are up to. I don't trust them. That's all it is.
All right. What else? The rats. She served the rats, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was pretty metal, and just the look on everybody's face. And during
it's the only thing is she should have made them eat
it. Yeah.
It's like that should have been part of it. And I feel like if this is from the text, that probably was what happened. But go on with your point. It was still an awesome scene.
Oh, it's an amazing scene. Just the look of disgust and horror on the faces of all the nobles, and just seeing how apparently that wasn't in the text, but just seeing how everybody was like, but
and that's just so fun. Like, I'm never gonna be upset at watching like a prude, like a rich prude, like clutch their pearls over something that's like, no, you probably could eat that actually.
It looks like there was some seasoning added to it.
Like that is the like fancy version of what the peasants were eating.
Yeah.
To Rhaenyra's credit.
That's how I
You know, it's got sides, man. It's got sides. You think the peasants of King's Landing are getting sides?
It's Hillary Clinton discovering people live in apartments all over again.
Wow.
But
and you share this bathroom. All of you.
There is a plant in the sink. But I also genuinely loved the guy that she was talking to, the Lord Manderley. Manderley is a lord that is based up in the north, and he is the most wealthy lord in the north. He does most of the trading. He's not a big character in the show, but in the books, he's a huge character. And he's easily one of the most like plotting characters that's not mentioned in the books, because he's like trying to do this whole insurrection against the Boltons and the Freys. And he's also just well known because he's the fattest character in the book. Like,
well, it does need to be said that when Rhaenyra's first impulse was to throw a feast to solve all their problems, I'm like, oh my god, are we finally going to get fat Rhaenyra, book accurate Rhaenyra, chocolate Rhaenyra? But no, this show would never go there.
No. And I mean, I did think for a second that they're like, oh, is she going to be doing Let Them Eat Cake? Is she going to be?
And that would have been too obvious too. So I think just that whole thing, we were sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh, okay, what's going on here?
But I was pleasantly surprised, and I do think that was actually a very, like, people are going to argue that was not a good move because it pissed off the royalty of, I mean, the nobles and the wealthy of King's Landing.
But it could be amazing optics for the greater populace.
Exactly. But it's also a power move where she's like, she came in and she like told him like, I am the queen. Like,
yeah, and there is something like, I think that quick scene that you get before dinner is actually served is telling there, where the one lord's like, oh, I just wanted to be Rhaenyra, that I was always on your team. And she's like, right, yeah, it's funny how I never, you never reached out, you never called, I never heard anything about you being on my team. There's like a condescension in that initial interaction, and then when they actually bring out the other, that's her putting them under her foot.
And I think that would have been also an amazing opportunity where, like, and I know we already said, but just bringing the point home of like, and then she'd be like, okay, dig in, eat it.
And then like, see, I wanted her to execute one guy. And that's like, maybe that's me wanting to jump the gun with it, because like, I felt like that needed to be like the scene. But maybe I'm just getting bloodthirsty.
Well, I genuinely thought she was going to poison them. Like,
but that's what I'm saying is like, I wanted to see a little bloodshed. You imagine if she's like, all right, now enjoy. And then let the one guy's like, well, I'm not going to sit up for it. And then he like stands up and like, they just whop his head off.
Well,
come on.
It'd also be a great way to get some of that wealth that they're concerned about.
They just seize his ass. Win-win. We don't care if you eat or not. The choice is yours.
It's like, so you can eat and survive, or you cannot eat and you'll still have all your money stolen from you and all your food. But I think Rhaenyra needs to establish that, because she's being a little too soft on the people that can actually damage her, but she's doing amazing PR for the general populace, which will view her as this benevolent leader. But she needs to be truly a villain to these people. I mean, not to get all political, but this is something that FDR was very popular during the Great Depression, is that he was like, okay, if we want to not have an uprising of the people, we need to be getting we need to give them these welfare package. We need to be getting these programs together, and he pretty much used the bully pulpit to force all of the very wealthy to be giving up a lot of their stuff so that the people had stuff to go on. And he genuinely, like, the people view him like he's to this day the only president that has been president 4 times. And
Well, it would take a lot and be actually quite concerning if that were to happen again.
well, it's because of him though that they put that law in place.
Yes. And you know what? I'm just gonna, this might be even more radical than you bringing up this fact, but I think I would be in favor of this sort of policy, especially in the case of Westeros.
No, and that's what I'm saying though, is that she needs to come in and be like, you guys, I am literally at the top of the food chain right now. You guys do not scare me. There is nothing you can do against me.
That's why she should have had her dragon just like curled up in the corner with the feast. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine if she invited them to the dragon pit?
That's got to be the next stop.
Yeah.
If she's doing this the way she needs to be, but we're sort of criticizing this aspect of her strategy.
And that could have been so much symbolism too, because that's where they like coronated Aegon in the dragon pit and bringing them all back in there to be like, all right, remember how you chose the usurper here? All righty.
Yeah, they just need the scene that they did at the beginning with the Hightower army. They just need to do that with the King's Landing nobles. They just need to wheel out their 3 dragons and be like, so this is what we're dealing with. This is what you'll be answering to if you disobey us in the slightest. And let's get to work. New era.
It looks like there's even more reason to love Jaehaerys because Nana is saying that Jaehaerys did that in Fire and Blood.
Holy shit, my guy!
And he had Vermithor, so
just look to the greats.
He's the greatest. He's the best that ever was in Westeros.
All right, that'll do.
All right. Is there anything else we want to talk about this episode? Well, actually, I do want to talk about this last scene. I think this might be actually a good place to wrap up. But I think that we're going to see this blood and fire Rhaenyra. I think she understands. I think right now she feels stupid. She feels betrayed for her trust. And even though the people are being held captive there, I have a sinking feeling that she's like, well, they're going to die for the greater good. And I think she's completely forgotten that Hugh's wife is in Tumbleton right now.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
And
I had forgotten that.
Yeah. That's where that's where Hugh's wife is.
Are we going to get the Bronze Fury team switching?
It could, I could see Rhaenyra sending Daemon.
Speaking of Jaehaerys, the nobility of Jaehaerys.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, a lot of potential for where this show could go from here. And it's got me.
Because that's what I really think with her staring into that fire at the end. That's to me saying, okay, she's just hardening herself even more.
And that's the symbolism there. She's like watching the green banners burn, and she likes it.
Yeah,
she sees the satisfaction, and it's like this is giving an inkling of satisfaction to that rage that she feels. That's all she is anymore. And so I think that's what they're getting at in that final scene. Is she's much in the same way that she made up her mind, sort of spur of the moment when Ulf was like, well, I want to be a Targaryen. and so that's why Adam didn't get to be one, a Velaryon. But it could be something as simple as her seeing the satisfaction of a green banner burning for her to be like, let's just light it up, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, she has been pushed to this point, but also
she's under a lot of pressure.
She's under a lot of
pressure. You gotta give a girl that.
Yeah. Yeah. But anything else that we want to go over before we wrap up tonight?
There was a scene early on where Rhaenyra talks about how the air is thick with ghosts. And I forgot to mention, because that was a hard line. I liked that. But then also, I need, I could be making this up because it was a really quick scene, but there's like one where she's like walking through the crowd and she thinks she sees her son.
Yes.
Okay, that actually happened.
Yes.
All right. So kind of a quick little interesting flourish that I felt was the most overt representation of like, oh, she's losing it, but also understandable for a mother who just lost another son.
Well,
So I did just think that was an interesting like sort of notable little moment that we breezed on past, but that would be my last thing.
and this sort of just also closes out just because I also know it's two dudes talking about a woman leader and also in an episode when she starts her period. So like to me, I feel like that's the part that's almost, I don't want to say disrespectful, but just like I'm curious what they're doing there because I feel like she's under enough pressure as it is, and she's just losing her mind as it is to throw having a period in, like, just seems like
Yeah, but as discussed in this episode, I think there's a little bit more than just like the additional um difficulty
yeah.
of dealing with that. I think it was more representative than that.
And it just was an interesting choice. That's all I'm trying to say there, and I'm glad that we were able to break it down. I'm really
That we did.
that we did. We got ourselves another hour 40er over here.
Talked longer on this one than the last, and I felt like the last two episodes were probably bigger
They were.
episodes in the drama of the series, but
Well, this was the
still,
drama episode. This is
oh yeah, I say so. Yeah, no, the action was so heavy on the other. Which I mean, how much there is there to say other than it was awesome? Where here we're like, no, what's this character thinking? How does this affect how this person's going to feel about this? And honestly, this is the meat of the show. This is the good stuff.
This is what brings people back.
Yeah, no, and I think that this is what makes the action later on work. Like
Yes.
this is what actually feeds the emotion of that stuff. So
Yeah.
they're doing it right. I like it. I'm excited to see where this third and seemingly final Kilner episode goes next week. I don't know about you.
I am very excited to see where Claire's episode is going to take us. And Nana, I hate to say that you're right, but and yet there's going to be noobs that are going to be pissed because they didn't have any battles. Yeah, like there's going to be that. Anybody that's complaining that there's not enough battles and not enough dragons don't understand what the true spirit of Game of Thrones is.
Yeah, you could just rewatch episode 1.
Yeah. You
like
can
just do that every
go watch Rook's Rest.
or I don't know, just like the old shit. You were telling me about how like John Carter actually has really good special effects. Just go watch that.
Yeah, I mean, terrible story, but
How long has it been since you circled back on John Carter? Be honest.
guys, we're in the pocket of Disney. We're being over here to promote several of their projects, apparently.
Hey, you gotta eat.
You gotta eat. Well, that's going to conclude this week's episode.
Bryce, what about the picks? The picks of Fitz.
That's right. We can't end the episode.
Oh my God. I'm not even like fully like vetted, like deputized co-host here. And
it was just so
I'm glad I was here till it was not.
In my opinion, it was really like scarce.
Listen,
Scarce.
Ryan J. Condal cited Conclave as a point of reference for this episode, and I felt it. Have you seen Conclave?
No.
Bryce, you would dig Conclave.
Okay.
One of the best looking, most coolest movies of the last few years.
Okay.
And I definitely felt that in this. It's a movie about the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Or it's like a dramatized version of the cardinals of the Catholic Church coming together to select a new pope. And it was really funny how the Pope it's not supposed to be funny when people die, but it was a strange turn of things when the Pope actually did die in real life very shortly after the movie came out. But that's neither here nor there. Fitz in that movie, awesome. Fitz in this episode, not awesome, but like good shit. And I think there are a few different ways that you could take your pick.
Like, there's a few people that stood out to me, but I also feel like there's just a lot of reused stuff in this episode.
Yeah, it's some greatest hits. Do you want to start us off though? Do you got a runner up, or do you just want to go right into what your ultimate pick would be?
For me, my ultimate pick for this episode, even though we did see it in the last episode, it stood out to me just because he was right next to Rhaenyra most of the episode. Mine has to go to, I have his name right here. It goes to Sir Luther Largent, the commander of the Gold Cloaks. He was sort of just Rhaenyra's soldier right next to him.
That gold cloak look is just so winning.
But it's black armor with the gold inlays around it, and then like he has a sigil right there at his chest. I just think that it looked just so good. Especially just how we're so used to the King's Guard being in all white when they're right next to the king or queen. So it's just so interesting to see like the stark difference between just black and gold versus a King's Guard white.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not write that one down. I think it was on screen quite briefly.
He was in there quite a bit.
Okay. But it's not a featured role in the way that most.
I mean, he was in all the small council meetings, and he was like walking with Rhaenyra the entire time.
Yeah, but did he have any lines?
He had a couple.
Okay, good for him. I'll have to watch out. I did think that the High Septon's look was pretty cool. So that'd be kind of like a runner-up for me. Very Catholic coded, but the majesty of that. I mean, I was already talking up Conclave, so good shit. And then, is the Rhaenyra look new? I feel like this has been,
I think this is
represented before, even though pretty dope. And
it's great
for how they get so much coverage of her. I almost want to go there. And like they have like a little bit of sound design even in it with like her chains like moving around, and that kind of heightens the sort of self-consciousness of her stress.
Actually, no, I do think that this is new, and I think it's new because up to this point, Rhaenyra has only been wearing red, and she's in mourning still, so she's wearing black now and just fully leaning into the Team Black aesthetic.
All right, well, let's just lock it in then, because I wanted to call this one like Rhaenyra's like biker queen fit. Know what I'm talking about? And I don't know if this is actual leather, but it's kind of got a bit of a sheen to it. Looks very expensive.
I'm willing to put that in. I'm totally willing to give that to the number one fit in the episode, or at least a runner up.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even the element of like you see Adam's fit, because that's something that wasn't quite so clear to me until we watched the behind the scenes, is that each of the dragon seeds are supposed to be like what they're wearing is representative of what they would have, like they've been tasked to dress for a formal occasion, and this is what they went out and got in King's Landing. So you notice that Adam's fit is very similar to what he sees from Rhaenyra.
And I actually really did like Adam's fit. Adam's fit was my follow-up. I do
Liberty, my guy, looking good.
He's fantastic. He is eating up this role, and I'm glad that he's getting all the attention in the world for this. But I also think that it just does such a great job. And they even talked about this. Each one of the outfits like portrays the characters so well, where Hugh is just literally like, I'm just putting on stuff that I'm familiar with. It may be nicer than what I normally would wear, but I know armor, I know chains. And then Ulf is just like, I am taking everything I never had in life.
And that would be my other runner up, is once the costume designer, because they have that bit, they're like, and our inspiration for Ulf is just that he would go out and buy the most expensive items he can find, like whatever looks the most expensive. And it sort of has that like Louis Vuitton slippers with like a suit coat jacket. Like this doesn't really
very Hugh Hefner.
Like nothing actually cohesive is happening here, but they're like individually each item is very flamboyant and prestigious. So I felt like there was just so much character in that fit once you actually take a look at it from that angle.
Yeah.
That sort of a different one, but that would be that would actually be my runner-up. That'd be my number 2.
Well, and just going back to Alan, he literally was watching Laenor and Corlys all of his life, and he probably actually has a pretty good idea of how to dress. Not necessarily because he got that opportunity, but he's literally just been coveting after having the life that Laenor had and being a true son of Corlys. So I'm sure that he actually has a better eye of what to be dressing in.
No, he's also just like really hot, so like don't fuck that up.
Yeah,
like there's pressure to keep it together.
Exactly. But
I cursed a lot in this episode. I don't know what brought that on.
You're just so sick of being disappointed by Team Green over here.
Yeah. Maybe I'm getting a little of that rage from Team Rhenira. I hope I didn't offend anybody.
Oh, well, if you offended them,
Rhaenyra said fuck too. It was a little weird.
It's fun. It's fun. But thank you, everybody who is officially thank you for everybody that has stayed with us during this. Be sure to go follow Austin on Letterboxd. Go check that out. The media binge.
Yeah. Letterboxd is weird with handles, but if you can just put it in the description, people can follow the link.
There we go. It's there. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, share it with your mom, share it with your dad. Which actor are we going to share it with involved, or who in the show are we going to share with this week?
See, I do think that Clinton Liberty's official page did comment on at least one of your posts, so holy shit. So like if there was anybody you could actually talk to that's on the show, I feel like he might be the guy. So share it with Clinton Liberty directly, please.
I have sent him DMs. He has not gotten back to me.
But hey, it's just numbers. It's like getting like your mailers through. You just got to send it.
I just need to get one. I just need to get one through.
You send 100, one gets through.
And so share it with Clinton Liberty, and also
send our warriors. Clinton will be ours.
Nana, go get him. I will send forth my Vega.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
And also be sure to share it with your aunt, who is now queen of the Seven Kingdoms and is slowly being crushed by pressure. But good for
Descending into madness. We all have one.
We all have one. But until then, peace.
That's all for this week's Dragon Lore. Takes cold and hot, spread shore to shore. Enjoyed yourself? Please join the squad. Follow on social media at BigLizPod. And one quick reminder before you go, to rate, review, and share the show. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. See you next week. Same time, same spot.